Doug Tennapel versus Comicsgate and EVS. The whole thing shocked me and actually made me sad. I remember the 8-hour live stream when EVS helped Doug raise $40,000 on his last day of his campaign. I remember when Doug thanked EVS for all his help, and EVS had to turn off his camera because he was crying. I can't understand why Doug would turn his back on EVS and Comicsgate. You don't have to love EVS to admit that he has helped a lot of creators get their campaigns funded. He has helped big, medium, and small creators. He even brought Doug Erst on his show after they had a disagreement. Not to sound too soft, but I was proud of EVS for that. He really is the human sunbeam. Now, that isn't to say he's perfect. I think the whole Caesar thing is a bit silly, but it's harmless. And at times, EVS can get a little bit of an ego, but so do we all. This just makes him human. Most importantly, he helps his friends, and even people who aren't his friends, if their project looks good. He'll give them a platform. EVS is literally helping people achieve their dreams of being a comic book artist. He has even had John De La Rose on to talk politely like reasonable adults and squash their beef over the Vox Day Comicsgate issue. EVS is a very reasonable guy who seems willing to give people a second chance. And to Doug Tennapel's credit, he did thank EVS in his book. That was awesome. But for Doug to block EVS on Twitter really surprised me. If Doug was mad about something, he should have just muted EVS for a few weeks until he got some perspective. To do something so public is absolutely crazy. I think what set this off was Doug not thanking EVS in his speech. He thanked everyone else, even people not involved, but he didn't thank EVS, which is very, very weird. In Doug's defense, one of the conditions to get the rights to publish Earthworm Jim is that he distance himself from Comicsgate. Fine, no problem. I understand and accept that. I think most of us did. EVS said he talked it out and he and Doug parted friends. But then Doug blocked EVS on Twitter and everyone went crazy. I think a lot of us are sad and disappointed seeing two friends fall out. I think Doug had been getting fed up with War Campaign for a while now. Fair enough, I like War Campaign, but in my opinion they go too far and fan flames that don't need to be fanned. EVS and JDA talked publicly and publicly buried the hatchet. Then John went on a War Campaign to settle things with them. It was mostly mature and amicable. But after a few weeks, after the show, a few weeks later, they started making fun of John again. Now, love him or hate him, he went on in good faith to peacefully talk things out. For War Campaign to go back and start insulting him, it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. They squashed their beef. They should have just moved on. There seems to be so many schisms in Comicsgate. Captain Cummings, the British couple, Nasser, Douglas Ernst, Tim Lim, Nurkish, now War Campaign, and Doug Tennapel. Renfamous and her crowd is sitting back and laughing. Maybe we should try to act like adults and settle things privately. Talk things out peacefully. Just agree to disagree, go our separate ways, and move on with our lives. Now, I'm adult about the whole thing. I realize people part company. But this whole thing actually made me sad and disappointed. I don't like the gatekeeping, and I don't want us acting like SJWs. He's talking about, I guess, Roe was kicked off Twitter for being salty and humorous, but of course he has an alternate account. He's still on there making memes. This is what War Campaign does. They're just a bunch of guys having fun, joking around. Yes, they can be very childish, but ultimately, if you don't like War Campaign, just block them or mute them. You don't have to go to their channel, their YouTube. It's not, you know. Anyway, so he posts this as a picture from the end of the Vietnam War, where a South Vietnamese soldier is executing a NVA soldier, which of course is a little bit of a war crime, but you know, that happens in war. I guess it ain't funny in the least. It's war. It's not funny, but it's not. It's, you know what I'm saying. It's not the end of the world. So then he adds in an adult toy. This is how about now? Okay, that made it funny. But yeah, it's childish, and they don't let things go. They fan flames with things, and fair enough. If Doug didn't like them, just leave him alone. Okay, this is one of the reasons why Doug was not happy with Comicsgate War Campaign. They attack and meme creators they do not like and derail small campaigns. Yeah, I had heard about that. Something about derailing small campaigns. So I'm not sure who that was in reference to. But that's not good. That's infamous. Jesus. Maybe I'll appreciate this one. Yeah, I mean, enough. You made your point. You made your point with one image. You can just kind of drop it and move on. If I could dislike, I would. This is why War Campaign's memes are not funny and cause strife in the community. Roe was banned because of something he did, not what someone did to him. Grow up and act like an adult. Yeah, I don't know what he did. Gay ops. So Doug came in and said, this is not funny, and you were not funny. All right. You can respect your opinion on that. That's fine, but just mute this guy or block him. Hoosier Highway. All right. He's a part of War Campaign, but it's like, here's the thing. You can't blame War Campaign for what some of its members do. It's like blaming Comicsgate because some of the people in Comicsgate are bad people. There are some, listen, in any organization, you're going to find, I don't know, racists and wife beaters and criminals and people of moral turpitude of all types in every organization. Take a look at the DNC if you don't believe me. Even people on the left have abhorrent habits. So yes, in any campaign, even Comicsgate, you're going to find some bad people, and they're going to publicly associate their name Comicsgate with, I don't know, with their non-politically correct tweets or their objectionable tweets, and then people like Renfremus are going to say, oh, well, it's, Comicsgate, they're all a bunch of German socialists of the 1930s. And no, it's not fair. It's like blaming all Muslims for the actions of a few terrorists. You can't, it's what is it? It's I don't know, reduction, appeal to the whole, or a reduction ad infinitum or something. It's, you're taking a small sample size and you're extrapolating it to the whole. So you can't blame War Campaign for everything, even though they used to say always blame War Campaign. I don't know what he got kicked off for. I'm sure it wasn't this tweet. Twitter is a very funny place. It's very, very left wing. This guy says, here it is again. Since you missed it, your man Roe posted a meme of him, anally, word I can't say on YouTube, rapping. I'll say that. Someone he doesn't like. How do we know it's not consensual? Not sure what kind of creator spends time constructing and publicly sharing sick images like this, but that's on the same level as Robbie Rodriguez offensiveness. Interesting point. Robbie Rodriguez, in case you're unaware, you can go to Cecil's video about Robbie Rodriguez. It's hysterical. Robbie Rodriguez is the comic book artist for, I think, Zoe Quinn's Goddess Mode. He took off his pants and underwear. He took his cell phone. He lay on his back, propped his legs up, opened himself up to it, so to speak, put his camera down there, and took a photo of himself, of his butt. And I'm not just talking about his butt crack. Maybe that would have been it would have been weird. Would have been weird for an adult to do that. He took a picture of his the hole itself, his anus, and sent it to Ethan Van Sciver, which technically is probably sexually assault, or at least sexual harassment. Of course, he should have been fired. I think he was working at DC at the time. He should have been fired instantly, right? No, of course not, because this is Clown World. He didn't get fired for that. All right, so now they're arguing. So now people are taking Doug's side and people are taking Ro Kamira's side, and I stand with Ro. Renfremus and Dougfamous. I just can't believe this is happening. I never in a million years would think Doug would do this. I have seen him on live streams when he's Jesus, this is kind of childish. When he's been drinking, and he can get really mean when he drinks. He's on some live streams with Cecil, and I think Cecil took the streams down or didn't keep them up because Doug would get really, really mean and kind of. He's just not a good drinker. He's really opinionated about his religion, which is great. But to say it's my religion is right, my way or the highway, you got to respect that other people are either atheist, agnostic, or they have different religious beliefs. It's your religion is kind of where you grew up in. Anyway, and if you go on YouTube and you search Doug Tennapel versus Mike S. Miller, it'll take you to an Ethan stream about 11 months ago, where Doug and Mike are arguing, and Doug is acting like a real jerk to Mike. Mike was having financial troubles at the time, and Doug was just giving him a hard time, and he wouldn't stop. I mean, say your piece, express your views once, and stop. You're talking to Mike in person. You told him how you feel about him supporting a guy who I guess was anti-Comicsgate. Okay, you express your opinion to Mike. Just stop after that. You don't need to repeat the same point you already made. Anyway, this is just War Campaign is killing Comicsgate. No, it's not killing Comicsgate, but things could be better. I thought we were not. I thought we were kind of more of a live and let live crowd, more of a libertarian atmosphere. Anyway, this is just sad. Leave a like and a comment. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed.